Hello and welcome back to our data structures and algorithm series. In this video, we look into the list operations using Python programming language. So I've just listed all the operations we're going to look at. So let's begin by creating a list. So let's just create here, create a list of numbers, for example. So the syntax for creating a list is the name. For example, you can call it number list, then the assignment operator, then the square brackets. So inside there, you can give it the numbers, for example, 1, 2, comma. So it's a comma separated list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe 7, like that. So if you want to see your list, you can always do a print. So number list. Okay, so we have our list there. So remember, for a list, you can have mixed data types. So for example, we can change this to 5.5 and we will still get our list, as you can see down here on the terminal window. So that's the strength about lists. So let me just take that back. Then maybe also create create a list of animals, which is just really a string. So animals is equals to. So for strings, of course, you have to put them inside double quotes. So for example, dog, then cat, then cow, then we can have maybe pig. Okay, so we can print this again, animals. Let me just, sorry. So I can clear the terminal so that it can be a bit neat. Okay, so if we print, we can see that we have our list there. So these can also include numbers, by the way. So if I add a comma and do number 8 and print, it's still allowed. So that's the power of lists. So it can have different data types. So I hope that is very clear to everyone. Okay, so let me just remove this so that we just have the list of animals and the numbers list. We'll also remove this print, and now let's go to accessing the list elements. So accessing the list elements has the same syntax as an array. So we can access using positive index. So for example, we can print, if we wanted to print the cat there, which is at index 1. So we simply do print animals like that, and that should give us a cat. You see, we have a cat. So that is how we do that. You can also print what it's at the end. So access using negative index. So these are supposed to be positive. Okay, positive index. So for example, we can do print animals, and we can do -1. So normally it starts from -1. So that should print pig. So let me just clear here. Clear. Then I can do Python list operations.py. Okay, and we can okay. So that gave us only the cat, mainly because we did not save our work. So you can always know that you've not saved your work by looking at that. So I can just do Control S to save, Control S. Okay, then I can run. Okay, good. So if I run, I now have the cat and the pig. So the pig is being printed by this -1. So it prints the last one. If I do -2, then it's going to print cow. If I do -3, it's going to print cat, and so on and so forth. So you can just try, for example, to print cow by doing -2, and we can just comment this. So if we run that, then we have the cow. So that is that -2. So please remember that you can always access list items using either positive indices or a negative index. Okay, so let's look into the next operation, which is traversing the list. So I'll just comment this out. So traversing a list is very similar to traversing an array. So let's just create a function to do this. So traverse list, it's going to receive the list, which is, that's just a variable. Yeah, just the list actually. Okay. So then we can check if the list is equals to empty, and then we want it to print the list is empty. Okay. Else we want it to traverse the list. So to traverse the list, again, if for element, for example, in list, then we can do print the elements, just like that. Okay, so if we get out of this function, then we call the traverse list function and we pass it, for example, the number list. Then what do we get? Okay, so we get it to print all the numbers of the list. Otherwise, I just also want to show you here how to create an empty list. Yes, you can create an empty list by simply doing the square brackets. So if we pass to this the empty list and we run our code, we should get this, the list is empty. Okay, so I'll comment this. Then you go on to updating a list. So to update a list, you have to access its index. So for example, we want to update the animals list. So we access the index. For example, index 2. What do we have at index 2? We have cow. So instead of cow, we change it to a goat. So we do goat like that. Remember, it's supposed to be inside the quotes, either single or double. Then we can print animals. So if we run our code, you can see at the terminal window down here, instead at index 2, instead of having cow, we now have a goat. So that is how that's the syntax for updating. This is the syntax for updating the values in a list. You simply do the name of the list, then the index, then you use the assignment operator to assign the value that you want to change right there.